Good afternoon. What a beautiful day. Welcome to the Great Stone Viaduct and welcome to our dedication of our new bridge and walking trail. We will have the Bel Air American Legion Post number 52 present the colors, the Star Spangled Banner played by the Shadyside Band, and then please rise after that and we will say the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Well, thank you for joining us with the dedication of this project. My name is Ed Maurer. I'm the chairperson of the Great Stone Viaduct Historical Education Society, and that is a mouthful. So we're just going to call it the Great Stone Viaduct Society. And this is the dedication of the completion of our first major project revolving around the Great Stone Viaduct. This project's been 151 years in the making, since the original stones were laid for these arches, used for 100 years for rail transportation, fell into disuse, purchased by a group of individuals interested in the restoration, and today we are very pleased and proud that we are now repurposing these structures for recreation for the village of Bel Air and the residents of Belmont County. I have a lot of thank yous for those that have helped us all along. This project's being built with a $2 million Ohio Department of Transportation TAP grant. Without that grant, we would not have everything that you see here today. But there's many other individuals that have helped us all along. I want to thank Belmont County Tourism for their support and encouragement, Bellamar for their guidance and assistance with grants and support, and Belmont Savings Bank for the construction of this observation platform that you'll see down to my right. In addition to that, we have many public officials, county commissioners, township trustees, Village of Bel Air officials, the Belmont County Port Authority, and the Belmont County CIC who have all helped us with this project, and Jack Serra in particular, who helped us with many grants through the state. Our engineers have been MS Consultants. They are the ones that did the design work for the plaza, the bridge, and the bike trail that you'll see here in a little bit. Angelina Stone completed the restoration work on all these arches. They cleaned them, but they cleaned them so they looked old. And repointed all the grout, and if you'll notice underneath here, the grout hasn't been repointed so that the arches can breathe. So a couple people are going to get a little drops of water on them as we go through our program today. Shelley and Sands has been our contractor for this project. They have been working for the last several months down here, and I want to make a special recognition for the inmates at Belmont Correctional Institution who has helped us with mowing, ground control, and clearing of this property. But most important, I want to recognize all the donors that have helped us with this project over the last 10 years. We're going to talk more about ring stones and keystones here, and we're going to dedicate some plaques to those, so you'll hear more about that. But many people from all over the United States has helped us financially with this project. So thanks to all of you, and thanks to everybody's here. Thanks to everybody here. The Great Stone Viaduct Board is here. I'd like to have them stand up and be recognized. They're already standing. And Donnie Taylor, our holdout, is in the audience, not up here. At this time, I'd like to introduce Doug Meller, who is president of the Ohio Historic Bridge Association. Mr. Meller received a Bachelor's of Civil Engineering from Tennessee Technological University and is a registered professional engineer in the state of Ohio. Mr. Meller possesses over 43 years of design and project management experience in structural and transportation engineering. He has executed projects for numerous ODOT districts, many counties, local agencies, park districts, and contractors on both traditional and alternative delivery projects. He has designed over 150 various types of bridges, numerous concrete and steel frame building structures, treatment plants, retaining walls, and roadways. His bridge experience includes the design and analysis of simple and continuous span bridges consisting of concrete slabs, steel plate girders, and pre-stressed concrete. He is currently a senior engineer for Broombaugh Engineering and Surveying in West Milton. Prior to working for Broombaugh, Mr. Meller was the design engineer for the restoration of 4 covered bridges in Greene and Scioto County and designed minor repairs on the ending covered bridge in Troy. Mr. Meller resides in Englewood, Ohio. Mr. Meller.
Thank you for that introduction. I want to thank Ed Maurer, Dan Frizzy, and the rest of the Great Stone Viaduct Historical Education Society, there I said it, Board of Trustees, for inviting me to speak here at the dedication of the Great Stone Viaduct. For 43 years, that's the reason why I had these gray hairs all the time. Before I get started though, Ohio History Connection Executive Director and CEO Megan Wood was unable to attend the dedication today, but she wanted to extend her congratulations to the Great Stone Viaduct Historical Education Society, the Board of Trustees, and to the Village of Bel Air for a successful project. The B&O Railroad, first bridge across the Ohio River, built in 1857, served a rail line through Parkersburg. But the growing center of Chicago, Illinois, made the span between Benwood, West Virginia, and Bel Air more desirable. In 1865, the B&O obtained the Central Ohio Railroad and later the Sandusky, Mansfield, and Newark Railroad. These acquisitions linked Bel Air to the port of Sandusky on the shore of Lake Erie, thence to Chicago. The purpose to build a bridge at Bel Air threatened a ferry business whose owners sought and obtained an injunction that was filed in court. The railroad fought the injunction to the U.S. Supreme Court and won. This is similar to the Roebling Bridge, and that's spanning the Ohio River between Cincinnati and Covington, Kentucky, as the steamboat operators did not want the structure built so as to not to reduce their business. Discussions into building this bridge began in the late 1860s, just after the Civil War. It was decided that the bridge would be a combination of long-span wrought iron trusses over the river and Benwood approach, and a series of stone arches for the Bel Air approach. The engineers in charge of the work were Wendell Bowman and Jacob Hayes Linville, both well-known and respected railroad bridge engineers and builders. Bowman worked for the B&O Railroad and designed and patented a cast and wrought iron truss railroad bridge, which was extensively used on the eastern and older sections of the B&O Railroad. Linville was an eminent engineer and at one time the chief engineers for the Pennsylvania Central Railroad. He achieved bridge engineering fame during the Civil War by bridging the Monongahela River with a railroad bridge with spans of 300 feet. He designed and patented a trapezoidal railroad bridge truss, much like Squire Whipple's trapezoidal truss, but differing in that Linville's truss was built completely out of wrought iron with forged eye-bars as tension members. When the main span structures were designed and built, he was president of the Keystone Bridge Company, which manufactured the trusses. The complete original structure going east to west consisted of 7 Bowman deck trusses with spans of 106 to 125 feet each. This was the Benwood approach. 3 Linville Whipple deck trusses with spans of 211 to 214 feet each. 2 main Linville Whipple trusses with spans of 347 and 242 feet. A Linville Whipple deck truss with a span of 209 feet. And then finally with 2 Bowman deck trusses with spans of 107 feet each. And then completing the structure was what you see behind us here, or behind me, in front of you. There's the bridge, which contained 43 arched spans cut out of sandstone blocks measuring 33 feet 4 inches center to center and varying in height from 10 to 20 feet over the roadways of downtown Bel Air. Each Roman-type arch contained 37 ring stones representing the 37 states at the time of the completion. Henry Howell duly noted in his historical collections of Ohio that the B&O Railroad crossed Bel Air on a stone arcade of 43 arches and very picturesque feature of Bel Air. I, for one, have to agree with Mr. Howell. Work on the structure began May 2nd, 1868, with the construction of 6 cut stone piers in the river. The approach work to the bridge was completed in 1870. Then the bridge was completed and opened on June 21st, 1871. In total, the entire approach contains 14,854 cubic yards of masonry. The piers and the abutments contain 25,375 cubic yards. The bridge span is 8,566 feet in length, and the total cost at that time was well over $1 million. Who knows what it would cost today's dollars. Some of the accolades it received has been, in addition to the National Register of Historic Places in 1976, with the application completed by Miriam Wood, who helped start the predecessor of the Ohio Historic Bridge Association. And the bridge was featured in the 2010 Hollywood film Unstoppable, starring Denzel Washington. Filming on the bridge was in Bel Air, was November of 2009. The Great Stone Viaduct Historical Education Society was able to acquire 20 spans of the viaduct from CSX in 2017 through fundraising, donations, and grant funds, completing the repurposing of this structure to a pedestrian, walking, and bike trail as part of their larger plan. It is with this repurposing we are here to dedicate the new Great Stone Viaduct pedestrian trail. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to ask Jackie Pugh to come up. Jackie is the Director of Belmont County Tourism, and she's going to talk about Belmont County as a historic site. Thank you, Jackie.
Good afternoon. I'm Jackie Pugh, the Executive Director of Belmont County Tourism, and I'm honored to be speaking here today at the Great Stone Viaduct Trail dedication. There are few structures in Belmont County as iconic as the Great Stone Viaduct, and for over 150 years, the towering stone arches have greeted visitors to Belair. They are a lasting reminder of the area's importance in transportation, industry, and innovation. On June 21st, 1871, the first train traveled over the 43 stone arches, connecting Belair to Benwood, West Virginia. And today, on October 23rd, 2022, a 20-arch portion of the stone viaduct will be open to the public as a new walking trail, plaza, and overlook. Railroads were the backbone of American travel and were integral to the development of countless communities, just like right here in Belair. In the 1920s, the national rail system consisted of nearly 300,000 miles, but less than half of that is used today. Saving these unused rail corridors or converting them into trails is preserving a piece of American history. The Great Stone Viaduct was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1976. And it attracts many tourists and railroad enthusiasts to visit it each year. The viaduct is a visual reminder of the community's past and rich railroad history, as well as a display of strength and engineering. And today, it offers opportunities for this community's future. The development of this new walking trail is significant for Belmont County, and a trail that incorporates such an integral part of our rich history of the county will no doubt attract more tourists into our area. Trails are an important part of the overall strategy of economic revitalization and building and strengthening of local businesses. In addition to the economic benefits of attracting tourism, trails also become a valuable tool in highlighting the assets that make a town not only a good place to live, but a great place to visit with higher quality of life. The Great Stone Viaduct's new walking trail, plaza, and overlook, through its appreciation of historic and natural assets, will only enhance the greater sense of community identity, civic pride, not only to Belair, but to all of Belmont County. On behalf of myself and the Belmont County Tourism Council Board of Directors, I extend a very special thank you to the Great Stone Viaduct Historical Education Society. Because of their dedication and appreciation of history and desire to see the viaduct protected and preserved for future generations, a project like this would never have been possible. So I invite you to please join me in thanking the Historical Society for the hard work that they've done to make today possible.
Thank you, Jackie. There's been one glue that's held this whole project together over the last 11 years. Dan Frizzy is original board member, charter member of the organization, local historian, cheerleader, nudger, annoying nudger at times, but has put his heart and soul into this project. And I'd like Dan to come up and talk a little bit about the bridge builders.
Today we pay homage to the bridge builders of this magnificent stone arcade that we call the Great Stone Viaduct. What is it that bridge builders possess when they're called upon to apply their talents to build such a structure? I think there are two things. I think that one thing in their mind is that they are thinking of those who are yet to come. And because of that, they have a deep sense of pride in the workmanship that they apply to build such a structure. Many of you will remember the 1957 movie, The Bridge Over the River Kwai. It was set during World War II. The men who built that bridge were prisoners of war in Southeast Asia. They endured the terrible hardships and conditions of life as POWs as they were in the process of building the bridge. But in spite of the hardships they endured, they found meaning for their survival and existence in building a railway bridge over the River Kwai. This bridge gave them a purpose for living and surviving those awful conditions of captivity. Yet despite all of those awful conditions, the pride in their workmanship gave them the strength to continue the bridge work to completion. Now, this bridge that we stand before today was built under much different conditions. The workers here were paid by the railroad for their work. The men who built the bridge did not have to suffer the hardships of disease, brutality, and fatigue as POWs. Yet the men who built the bridge over the River Kwai and those who built this bridge that stands before us today had one common characteristic. They knew they were building the bridge for others who were yet to come. They took pride in the work that they were doing with their hands to create something so grand where nothing had stood before. These bridge builders found meaning and purpose in their work as though they were artisans, which in fact they were. They did it for others to enjoy. We do not know the names of these bridge builders who built this bridge, although we have labored hard to find out who they were. We do know that the Bel Air Lodge number 107 of the Royal Arch Masons was chartered under a warrant of dispensation in 1867, and it was officially chartered on October 17, 1868. This was during the period when the very first stone of this bridge was laid on March 2, 1868. And so the lodge was organized just as this bridge project began. We also know that the Masonic symbol that adorns the Union Street arch of the stone viaduct was placed there as a part of the Masonic order dedicating that stone, that keystone, to this building of this bridge. We know the bridge builders were artisans by what we've discovered during the preservation project, something that we had not known before. Artisans usually sign their work. And so, with chisel, hammer, and square, these stonemasons placed upon dozens and dozens of the stones that you see building this bridge their initials, their symbols, their own personal mason marks, identifying them as having taken part in this construction. These stonemasons chiseled their marks in this grand structure to let us know that they were as proud back in 1870 to 1871 as we are proud today to rededicate this bridge. So today, let us pay homage to the bridge builders of this great stone viaduct. Please join me in giving them our acknowledgement and our deep appreciation and thanks for their work of art that is the Great Stone Viaduct. And now, as a tribute to all bridge builders, from the River Kwai to the River Ohio, Please listen as the Shadyside Band performs Colonel Bogey's March, made famous in that movie, The Bridge Over the River Kwai.
Thank you, Shadyside Band. Somebody put a stone wall there and I couldn't see you. Just want to cover a couple of orders of business here. We are going to move forward with our dedication. We're going to move down this direction to my left, to your right, and do a ribbon cutting. Following the ribbon cutting, then the Shadyside Band will continue to play songs while we're open to mill around the plaza and take in everything down here. We have vans over here that will shuttle people up to the top. And you are, at that time, welcome to get on a van. I just ask that we fill the first couple vans with the board members so they can get up to the top of the ridge to be tour guides and assist up there. So feel free to take a van up to the top and walk the walking trail, walk out on the observation platform, go down to the Belmont Savings observation platform down here and take in all the sites. As we mentioned before, this is a $2 million project. It's a very large project, and it's very important to us. It is just about completed. There's still a little bit of work to do. You can see the contractor is still mobilized. There's additional things that need to be taken care of. But a year ago, when we decided to pick a date for our dedication, we checked with the weatherman. He said this was the day. So There's still a little bit of work to be completed. The contractor is still engaged in this project, but it'll be open here. We'll have the bike trail open, the plaza will be open. We'll be opening up the walkway here very shortly for everybody to use. And then there are signs of usage of how to use it. There is a parking lot down at 26th Street for those who want to come and walk. So you can park at the parking lot down there and then walk all the way up. Right, but presently there's not a way to get between this plaza and up above. This is phase one of our restoration project, so that will be coming as additional funding is secured. And speaking of funding, we want to unveil our arches. You heard from Mr. Meller about the significance of the 37 ringstones and the keystones. I'm going to ask Dan Frizzy to come back up and talk about the fundraiser that we've had for the last several years and the significance of that. And then we will all move down about 3 or 4 arches for our ribbon cutting and unveiling of some of our donor plaques. So Dan, if you would come up and share a little bit, and then we'll move on down.
I'll turn it back over to you. Okay, one of the things I would like to say is a thank you to so many folks who have contributed to this project. As many of you are aware, we've devised a fundraising plan whereby we have given arches themes. Today, we're going to be unveiling the plaques of the donors who supported those themes. The first is the business arch. You'll see many business names there that are familiar to you. You'll see some, unfortunately, that are no longer a part of our business community. But understand this has been a project that has been going on for 10 years. The second stone that you'll see dedicated today and unveiled is the alumni arch. Classes of the Bel Air High School graduates have donated funds to purchase ringstones for those various arches, and this was headed up by the Bel Air High School Alumni Association. So that arch is also being dedicated today. We do have other arches that are going to be placed here and named and identified with a plaque and stone. The Italian-American arch is closed. We are going to be dedicating that next. We have a Veterans Arch. We have a Friends of the Viaduct Arch. We have a Memorial Arch. We have a Building America Arch that all are going to be dedicated here in the future. We're still raising funds. We still have available space on those plaques. This is the brochure that we've used to raise those funds. Anyone who believes that any veteran, and I know there are some here today that would like to be on that arch, we welcome you to pick one of these up at the table here when you are leaving. Anyone who wants to memorialize someone, we have space on the memorial arch. Anyone who wants to just be a friend of the Viaduct Arch, you can also be a part of that by contributing using this form. The Building of America Arch, that is available to anyone who is blue collar, anybody who has helped to build America and to make it great and strong. You're welcome to join under that arch. So at this time, I think I'm going to turn this over to Ed, and we're going to move down to the business arch for its unveiling.
So please move on down. The board is down there. We will do a ribbon cutting. We'll unveil an arch. Feel free to mill around after. We're actually going to have 2 ribbon cuttings around this project, and the vans will be running for the next several hours, taking people up to the top so you can actually get up on the trail. So please join us 100 feet to my left. Thank you. I get the privilege of making the first cut. Then I'm going to ask Dan to remove the covering over our first business plaque showing all the names of the donors that have purchased all of these stones.
And this arch is for all the graduates of our beautiful Blair High School, and there are many.
And Jim, will you remove the cover off? Tablet? Thank you very much for coming. Thanks for supporting us. Take in the whole project. Go up above. The vans will be running.